There are different methods to manipulate an array. So let's discuss them one by one. The first one is going to be obviously the array constructor. For example, if I say here const array is equals to, let's just create an array, an empty array by using the array constructor. Now if I console log the array, as you can see there we have the empty array. Here I'm going to say and declare another variable const, let's just say 8 empty values, and here I can say array. Inside of the constructor I'm gonna say 8. If I say 8 here, it's gonna create 8 empty values. To see if what happens, let's just console log the variable 8 empty values. As you can see, this array 8 empty values, which is taking 8 as the argument, that this constructor, as you can see over here, it just created 8 empty values. As you can see, it's also returning the length of the array, that is 8. Next method is the fill. Fill method fills all the array elements with static value. For example, instead of saying 8 empty values, here I can say 8 empty x values, and here I'm gonna use the fill method. I will say fill 8 values with x. It's gonna create 8 element values filled with this x here. So if I console log this variable here, as you can see, 8 elements which are filled with x here. Similarly, let's just declare another one. Let's say const 8 0 values. Here I'm going to use the constructor, array constructor. I will specify 8 here and use the fill method to fill those 8 elements with 0. If I say that like that and console log 8 0 values, as you can see, there we have our array filled with 8 zeros. Next up we have the concat method. We can use this concat method to concatenate two arrays. For example, I can say here const first list. It's going to be an array. It's going to be an array with the number values. Here I will say 1, 2, 3, and I will also declare another array. That's going to be second list. Here I will say 4, 5, 6. Let's also declare a third list, and here I'm going to use the concat method to concatenate first list array and second list array in the third list array. Here I will say first list dot concat second list. This is going to concatenate this first list array with this second list array. Now if I console log third list, as you can see, this first list array and this second list array were concatenated inside of this third list array using this concat method. Next we have the index of method. We can use this method to get index of an element in an array, and we can also check if an item exists in an array. If it exists, it's gonna return the index, else it's gonna return -1. Let's just say we have a numbers array. I'm just gonna add some more values here. Okay, I can use the index of method. Let's just console log directly the result. Let's say numbers dot index of. If I say 5 here, if it is present, it's gonna return the index value, meaning where the element is present, where the element is present at which index. If it doesn't find the 5, it's gonna return -1, meaning it doesn't exist in the array. If I console log that, as you can see, it's returning the element 5 is present at the index 4. Similarly, let's copy this and say 7 here. If I console log that, as you can see, it's returning -1, meaning this 7 does not exist in this array. Similarly, I will say 1 here. As you can see, it's returning 0 here. That is, 1 is present at the index 0. A similar method we have is includes. It's gonna check if an item exists in an array. If it exists, it's gonna return true, else it's gonna return false. Let's give it a try. We consider a numbers array. Here I will say, let's just remove this. Here I will say includes. If the element 5 is present at the numbers array, it's gonna return true. If I console log that, as you can see, the element 5 is present inside the array, so it's gonna return true. Similarly, I can say 7 here. As you can see, it's returning false. That's because 7 is not present at this array. Next, we also have an isArray method. It's gonna check if the data type is an array or not. For example, if I say here console log the result, I can say here array.isArray. I want to check numbers whether it is an array or not. Based on that, it's gonna return true or false. If I say it like that, as you can see, it's returning true. That's because this numbers is actually an array, right? For example, if I say here const number 100, if I apply this isArray method to this number, as you can see, it's returning false. That's because this number is not an array, right? So that's how this isArray method actually works. Similarly, we have next toString method. This method actually converts an array to string. For example, if I say here console log numbers dot, meaning this numbers array to string, this is gonna convert this array into string. Let's see what we get in the console. As you can see, this array was actually converted to string. Similarly, let's take one more example. Let's say that we have an array with names. For example, it can have my name, Brooke. Let's declare a string here. Okay. Now if I say this is an array, right? Array of names. If I say console log names dot toString, as you can see, they were just converted to arrays. For example, if I don't use this toString method, as you can see, it prints out the normal array. This toString method is used to convert this array into strings. Next up, we have the join method. It is used to join the elements of the array. The argument we passed in the join method will be joined in the array and return as a string. By default, it joins with comma, but we can pass different string parameters which can be joined between the items. To understand it better, let's see an example. Consider this names array, and here I can say names dot join. If I don't specify any arguments here, by default it's gonna join these array elements in a comma and convert them into string. For example, if I console log this, as you can see, this join method by default it uses the comma if I don't specify any argument here. For example, if I specify a star here and save that, as you can see, it joins these array elements with the argument that we passed here. Similarly, we can also say pass different argument here. As you can see, they were joined using these symbols, and I can also specify a space here. As you can see, there we have some spaces with this symbol. That's how we can join array elements. Next, we have the slice method. Slice method is used to cut out multiple items in range. It's gonna take two arguments, or you can say parameters. One is going to be starting position and ending position. It doesn't include the ending position. So let's consider a numbers array. Here I'm gonna say console log numbers dot slice. If I do not specify any starting position or ending position, let's just console log the result now. As you can see, it's gonna copy all of these elements from this array. Now similarly, if I say here 0, it's gonna consider it as the starting index or the starting position, and if I save that, as you can see, it again copies all of these elements. And for now, let's just say 0 is going to be the starting position, and I'm going to say numbers dot length. If I say like that, it again copies all of these elements. That's because it's going to start at the position 0, and it's gonna ending we are specifying the ending position as this array length, so it's gonna copy all of these elements. Now if I say here starting index is going to be 0, and if I specify 4 here, the array length is 5 here, but I'm specifying 4, starting position 0, ending position is going to be 4. Let's see what we get here. As you can see, we just got a range from this array, meaning we started from the position 0 and we said to slice this array from the starting position, and the last position is going to be 4, so it's just returning 4 elements here. Next we have the splice method. The splice method takes 3 parameters: starting position, number of items to be removed, number of items to be added. For example, let us consider this array here. Here I will say numbers dot splice. Here I'm going to specify the starting position. Let's start from 0, and I want to remove only one element, so I'm not gonna pass any third argument. I don't want to add new items, so I'm just gonna save and console log numbers. As you can see, the element that is present inside this 0th index was actually removed. Why is that? I said start from 0, and I specified here remove one element, so it just removed the first element from this array, and I did not specify any third argument to add the element, so it's just gonna return the array with first element removed. Similarly, let's just say start from the 3rd index, and here I will specify remove 3 elements, and here I'm gonna add new elements 7, 8, 9. Now what's gonna happen? I'm saying here the first argument is going to be the starting position, that is 3rd index, and this argument is going to be number of items to be removed, so I'm specifying 3 here. It's just gonna remove 3 elements from this index. So as a third argument, I'm specifying what elements I want to add after removing those elements. So if I save that, as you can see, 3rd index, that is 4, starting from 4, it's just gonna remove 3 elements. If I also say here 6 here, as I'm specifying I want to remove 3 items, if I save that, as you can see, no, no changes, right? So I'm specifying that I want to remove 3 elements, so it's gonna remove 3 elements from here, and here I'm specifying what items I want to add, so 7, 8, 9. So it just added 7, 8, 9. Next up we have push method. Using push method we can add items to an array at the end. Let's see an example now. Let's consider an array. Const here array. I'm gonna say item 1, item 2, item 3. Let's close the array. Okay, here I will say array dot push. Here you need to add the name of the array and followed by dot push method. Here I want to specify what element I want to add. It's just gonna add this element at the end of this array. Now if I console log the array here, as you can see, this new element was added at the end of this array. Similarly, we also have the pop method. Pop method is used to remove items from the end. So instead of adding this item here, I have added here new element here using this push method. I have console log the array, as you can see here, and here I'm gonna say array dot pop. It's just gonna remove the last element that we just added, that is new element. So if I console log the array here after performing the pop operation, as you can see, this new element was actually removed from this array. And I can also call this pop method any times I want. So I will just call it 3 times. As you can see, this element was removed, this one was removed, this one was removed, and we are only left with this one item here. Next up we have the shift method. Shift method is used to remove an element from the beginning. So if I say here array dot shift, it is used to remove the element from the beginning, right? So if I console log the array now after performing the shift operation, as you can see, item 1 was that is presented at the beginning of this array was removed using this shift method. Similarly, we also have an unshift method. Unshift method actually adds an element to the beginning, similar to, or you can say opposite to, push method. Here I will say unshift. Remember, it adds elements to the beginning. So here I'm gonna add, let's say, item 0. Now if I save that and console log, as you can see, item 0 was added at the beginning of this array. That's it for this video. In the next video, we are going to talk about loops. So I will see you in the next one.